broadcasting, and the channel is live. Hello everyone, and welcome to Christiana Plays Ironsworn Starforged. This is my channel where I most often run Dungeons and Dragons, but today I'm going to be playing some of the initial world building and then character building and then a little bit of the solo play adventure from Ironsworn Starforged, which is now in Kickstarter. And you should go check it out on Kickstarter. It has already funded with a I was going to say exponential, but I don't know that. Let's stratospheric. The funding on it has launched like a rocket. So this is the new sci-fi version of an RPG called Ironsworn that I've had a lot of fun with playing both in co-op mode and in solo mode. But now we've got the sci-fi version, and I am very excited. So this is the preview edition. You can see the cover of it with some beautiful artwork here on the screen. And that preview edition is available for free to backers of the Kickstarter, which is live right now, as mentioned. So let me just get a couple of miscellaneous things in order here, and then we will get started. Let's see. Live right now. Okay. So, let's briefly first talk a little bit about the Ironsworn system and the mechanics of it. We're going to cover it just really quickly because we're going to certainly be talking about it in more detail later. But as we've got this preview edition here, we've got a lot of great artwork already in place, even in this preview edition. It's a pretty impressive and good-looking layout, especially for being just a preview edition right now. Here, let me see if I can get my air conditioner to not right now. All right, so let's look at the mechanics real quick here. So the way the dice and rolls work in this game is that you always, whenever you do a roll, you roll 3 dice. You roll 2 d10s, and those are the challenge dice, and they reflect how difficult what you're trying to do is. And then you roll a d6, which is your action die, and the action die, you add that result to some stat or other, and that determines your score. And then if the action die plus your stat modifier is higher than both of the challenge dice, you get a strong hit. If it's higher than one but lower than the other, you get a weak hit. If it's lower than both, you get a miss. Pretty straightforward. And then, of course, if you one additional twist there is that if the 2 challenge dice come up with the same number, that's a match, then you get some additional wrinkles. So now whether you have a match with a hit where you find some new opportunity, or if you have a match with a miss, then you have some strange new complication. Now, the other big piece of what made Ironsworn so great, and what I think makes Starforged very impressive, and we'll have fun trying to play through it now, is that there are tons and tons of tables that they call oracles. And these are just rollable tables to help you determine what should happen next. And this is one of the reasons that it is so fun to play in solo mode, because not sure what should happen next? Roll on the oracle table just to see. And I have had lots of fun playing Ironsworn in solo mode, so I'm excited to get started playing it in Starforged as well. So let's take a look. Also, I guess I can briefly describe what I'm doing here in terms of my my setup here is that I've got the preview version PDF open, and then I've got Roll20 open, and Roll20 doesn't have an official Starforged Roll20 sheet yet. However, that stretch goal has already been reached in the Kickstarter, so I'm sure there will be a great one coming, because the Ironsworn Roll20 character sheet is one of the most effective and comprehensive ones, character sheets I've ever used in Roll20, so I can't wait for the Starforged one. However, because that's not ready yet, what I did is I took the preview versions, made them images on Roll20, and so I can draw on them as needed to put a little circle on something and then move that around, put tokens on it, etc. And it's going to look a little messy, but that's so that you can kind of see what I'm writing. So this is the main character sheet that's on the screen right now, and we're going to walk through that stuff as we prepare the character generation and everything. Then we also have this sheet, which is for connections, which is various NPC characters that you might meet and have become part of your larger story. And then down here I have the sector sheet, where we're going to map out a little starting sector and describe some of the locations in it. Then I've got a blank space over here for where, when we choose assets as part of character generation, I'm going to put the little card images there. And then I'm going to be using the Roll20 dice roller to roll. So, roll 2d10, and you should be able to see it down there in the, here, let's see, let me adjust this on Roll20, there we go. Now, of course, what it shows right now, note that we're going to be using the individual results, the 9 and the 2, rather than adding them together. And then when I want to roll the, the action die, got roll 6 right there. So that's basically how I've got things set up for right now. So let's move into Chapter 2 of this preview edition, Launching Your Campaign. So, similar to Ironsworn, Starforged has a bunch of what are known as the truths. They were, called world truths before. Now we're in a whole galaxy, because this game is set in a sort of globular cluster galaxy separate from our Milky Way galaxy, and we had to leave our galaxy behind and move to this new place, which we call the Forge. Now, the details of how and why that happened, we're going to work out here in just a minute with the truths. Now, one of the things that I feel kind of in the mood for today is to determine a lot of these things by rolling them. But what I'm also allowing myself to do is to veto any roll that I just don't like. If I get a roll and I'm just not feeling that one, I'm giving myself permission to roll again when we're just setting things up. Likewise, if anyone in the chat has opinions or thoughts about things, by all means, chime in, let me know, and maybe we can talk about it or mix things up. But first, let's look at these default assumptions for the world. This is a perilous future. I'm not going to just read all of this text. But perilous future. This is a lonely future. This is a diverse future. Far-flung future. Unexplored future. Wondrous. Retro. Scavenged. Unjust, but hopeful. Yeah. This is a lot of good mood stuff that's exciting to go through. But now, let's look about the truth categories. And so I've got a little note right here where I'm just going to keep track of some of these things that I need to take notes on. So as you can see, we have a number of categories here where we're going to determine certain things for the truth. And as previously mentioned, I think that I'm going to be rolling for a bunch of these today. So, as it suggests, you can either just choose one of the options, you can roll them, or you can, of course, make your own, because that's one of the great things about these types of role-playing games, right? Imagination. You can make up your own stuff. So, let's talk first about the Cataclysm. And so we are going to need to roll 2 sets of percentile dice here. So let's go ahead and roll them twice, and then I'll read the results I get rather than just reading the entirety of all the text. So, 2 percentile dice. So instead of using the combined result, we have 70 and 44. So if you can see, the first result of 70 takes us past these first 2 for this third result. Everything fell apart in an age of chaos. Ooh. Uprisings flared like wildflower. Wildflower. That's a different thing. Uprisings could flare like wildflowers, I suppose. But in any case, wildfire. Governments were toppled, trade ceased, old enemies waged new wars, and allies turned on one another. Oh no! On the brink of total collapse, we assembled our fleets and traveled to the Forge. A new home, a fresh start. The crisis was sparked by, and then we get our second result, 44, the loss of key resources. Okay. So, for our Cataclysm, everything fell apart in an age of chaos because of a loss of key resources. I don't know, what sorts of key resources might those be? We can think maybe on that a little bit more as we go. Maybe one of the other world truths will give us some kind of an insight that can help us to nail that down. So let's talk about the Exodus. The Exodus, of course, is the departure of our old galaxy for this new one called the Forge. So we're once again going to roll our 2 percentile. We got 43 and 9. So 43 gives us our second category. A ragtag fleet of ships propelled at tremendous speeds by experimental FTL drives carried our ancestors to the Forge. But the technology that powered the ships is said to be the source of the sundering, a fracturing of reality, which plagues us here today. Ooh. And so, oh, you know what? There's no second roll on this one. Okay. So that just, so the Exodus, let's see, experimental FTL drives brought us to the Forge. But we think they caused the sundering, a fracturing of reality. Yikes. Okay, so let's see. Since we already have another percentile dice with that 9 there, let's go ahead and apply that to our next category, which is communities. And so that would give us our first result. Few survived the journey to the Forge, and we are scattered to the winds in this perilous place. Our settlements are often small, starved for resources, and on the brink of ruin. Hundreds of far-flung settlements are lost and isolated within the untamed chaos of this galaxy, and we do not know their fate. Ominous. Also, one of the things that was true about the Ironsworn book, and that I really liked, and is true about this one as well, is that all of these world truths have a little example quest starter for each one of them to just kind of give you, start the wheels turning about what sort of story you might tell with that. So in this case, the quest starter example is a settlement on an icebound planet is found abandoned. There is no sign of an attack, no bodies. Their ships and vehicles sit idle. The people are simply gone, vanished. What is your connection to this place? We'll see. That might be one story we could tell. We'll find out. All right, so next is iron. And in particular, iron is of note in this because, as with Ironsworn, this game mechanically is focused on swearing iron vows to accomplish something and then seeing them done. So it's basically an extremely meaningful promise that you make, a vow that you take, and you have some piece of iron that you swear on. And that's, one of the things that I've heard said about tabletop role-playing games is they are about whatever it is that you do to advance your character. So, for example, a common game, Dungeons and Dragons, if you get experience points by killing monsters, people want to get experience points so they can level up, so they kill monsters. So it's a game about killing monsters. That's an oversimplification, of course. But the point is, whatever the game uses as a reward mechanic is going to drive the player to do that thing. And in this case, it is to swear iron vows and then complete them, make connections with people, and basically build a legacy. So let's roll for our iron truth. Let's see. Get a D100. We got 49, which gives us iron vows are sworn upon totems crafted from the enigmatic metal we call black iron. Ooh. So black iron was first forged by a long-dead civilization. Some say it is a living metal attuned to the... Oops, you know what? I didn't type this into our notes. Let me briefly go back and say. Few survived the Exodus, and we are scattered to the winds in isolated small communities. And then iron vows are sworn on black iron. Oops. You ever try to type in front of people? It's harder than regular. Black iron and enigmatic living metal. Black iron was first forged by a long-dead civilization. Some say it is a living metal attuned to the hidden depths of the universe. Remnants of this prized resource are found within ancient sites throughout the forge. Resistant to damage and corrosion, but can be molded using superheated plasma at specialized facilities. The Ironsworn carry weapons, armor, or tokens crafted from black iron and swear vows upon it. Cool. I like that. Okay, so next, laws. Let's roll for laws. 94. Our communities are bound under the terms of the Covenant, a charter established after the Exodus. The organization called the Keepers is sworn to uphold those laws. Here's my first opportunity here, I think, to perhaps choose differently than the roles would dictate. Because obviously we can use the roles, but we don't have to use the roles, right? And so the only reason I hesitate to use this one is I'm not sure it makes sense that we would rigidly follow consistently an established charter when we have a bunch of small, far-flung, scattered, isolated communities. I feel like there might be some that do that, but I wouldn't expect it to be consistent. So let's look at the other two results and see if one of those maybe seems to fit a little better with the rest of the reality that we're building here. So much of the settled domains are a lawless frontier. Criminal factions and corrupt leaders often hold sway. Or laws and governments vary across settled domains. Well, isn't that what we just said? I think that maybe makes the most sense because that's kind of what we were just talking about. Welcome. We've got a couple of people watching right now. So welcome. Feel free to chime in with the chat if you have opinions. But I am welcome lurkers just the same. So hopefully you will have fun watching along with me. So let's add our laws truth which is laws and governance vary across settled domains, but bounty hunters are given wide latitude. I didn't read that part when I originally chose this one, but that's pretty cool. I kind of like that. Plus, bounty hunters that's very in keeping with a lot of the kind of inspirations for this game, in terms of science fiction inspirations like The Mandalorian or Guardians of the Galaxy, say. All right, let's move on. Religion. 79. 3 dominant religious orders, the triumvirate, battle for influence and power within the Forge. Our communities are often sworn to serve one of the 3 doctrines of the triumvirate. For many, faith offers purpose and meaning, but it also divides us. Throughout our brief history in the Forge, the leaders of the triumvirate have pitted us against each other. For this reason, some are apostates who disavow these religions and follow a different path. Yeah, okay. I was trying to see if that would be another thing like the laws where would it really make sense for that to be true if we had these small, isolated communities. But yeah, I feel like religion is one of those things that is sticky, so to speak, from a cultural perspective. It can vary quite a bit and it can evolve and mutate, but it is something that people hold on to, especially when they're going through trying circumstances. And so, let's see. Now, the triumvirate is an interesting thing because to use that like a proper noun, it sort of implies like the triumvirate, like they are a ruling thing. But what that actually is intended to say is the triumvirate are the 3 competing factions, right? And I think that maybe makes a bit more sense, is that people are scattered, but you're likely to see each settlement perhaps follow one of the 3 faiths and maybe be potentially more hostile towards anyone who represents one of the others. And then you have occasionally people trying to either exacerbate or repair some of those separations. I feel like that could work. Okay. Now, one of the things that we might want to do at some point is try to determine what those 3 faiths are and what their nature is. But we'll see if that comes up. 3 dominant religious orders. The triumvirate. Battle for influence. Power. Alright. Did I spell that wrong? Or is it just not it's a triumvirate? Alright. Okay, so we've got a few left. Magic, communication and data, medicine, so on. Let's move on to magic. Now, we are a sci-fi story, and we could, at this point, just decide, well, we don't want there to be magic in this setting. But you know what? Let's roll for it. 56. Okay. 56. Supernatural powers are wielded by those rare people we call paragons. Okay, and we need another roll there. So, 12. And so these powers are, so while not magic in the truest sense, the abilities of the paragons are as close to magic as we can conjure. These powers are born of 12 genetic engineering. That seems like, like I was going to say tropey, but see, one of the things that I think whenever we talk about tropes, I think some people assume that a trope is somehow a bad thing. Like when you say something is tropey, that means it's bad. And I think that's a silly way to think about it. Now, it can be true that you can be a slave to certain tropes, but a lot of the time something becomes a trope because it is a proven effective storytelling tool. So, in any case, supernatural powers are wielded by genetically engineered paragons. Cool. All right. Let's move on to communication and data. And this is really going to be relevant because, of course, we established that our settlements are small and isolated and far away from each other. Far-flung. So let's roll. 46. Information is life. We rely on a guild of spaceborne couriers, the Heralds, to transport messages and data across the vast distances between settlements. I like that. Yeah, yeah. What it gives is kind of a real Old West vibe, right? With like mail carriers having to risk danger to deliver messages to the distant colony that might not have heard from the other settlements in a long time. Yeah, that's great. Spaceborne couriers called the Heralds transport messages and data across the vast distances. So, no faster than light communication Ansible style here. All right, so let's see. Next is medicine. Let's get another roll. Rolling the percentile dice to see what medicine is like. 51 means the second option. To help offset a scarcity of medical supplies and knowledge, the technicians we call riggers create basic organ and limb replacements. Nice. We're also establishing a lot of vernacular here already, right? We've got paragons and heralds and now riggers. All right. So supplies and knowledge are scarce, but riggers create basic organ and limb replacements. And that's a fun sci-fi thing, because imagining people having cool like robot arms and robot legs and cool like robotic eye or something like that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay, next, artificial intelligence. Let's find out what that will be. 36. Okay, once again in the middle, the vestiges of advanced machine intelligence are coveted and wielded by those in power. Yeah, that sounds right. So, vestiges of AI are coveted and wielded by the powerful, those in power. And what that means is that, you could imagine theoretically having a quest involving like stealing. Someone's got an AI in a computer that they use to track the weather patterns on their settlement or something like that, and if someone wants to steal it. What's the quest starter that it suggests here? You receive a covert message from an AI held by a powerful leader. It is a plea for help. What does it ask of you? That's fun. Okay, cool. All right, we've got 4 more truths to establish, so let's roll. 92 would be war never ends. Talented weaponsmiths and shipwrights craft deadly high-tech tools of destruction. Dominant factions wield mighty fleets and battle-hardened troops. Now, see, this is another example of that. That doesn't necessarily seem to match very well with our small, isolated, far-flung settlements. So I think I am going to veto that die roll once again. So let's see, what are our other 2 choices here? Here in the forge, resources are too precious to support organized fighting forces or advanced weaponry. Like, that could make sense. Or those with the ability to pay can call on the Legion, a guild of professional soldiers, to defend or expand their holdings. The rest of us are on our own. One additional thought actually on that is that although sometimes, it does make sense to say, this doesn't really fit with the rest of the things. Sometimes you can get really cool stories out of stuff that would be initially seeming to contradict. However, I think in this context, I think I am still going to go with that middle one. So the idea that is maybe what's left of the military fleet kind of ended up sticking together, staying on their own, even as all the different settlements went around, and so they kind of maintain a coherent identity as the Legion, but they're not affiliated with any specific settlement, and so they kind of became de facto mercenaries because there was no longer any central command structure for them. That makes sense. Those few who can pay hire the Legion. The rest are on their own. Okay. Now we've just got life forms, precursors, and horrors. All right. Now, one of the things that's established earlier on, and I didn't read all of the text for it, but when we were talking earlier on about the principles of this setting, when the idea that it's a lonely universe is basically saying there are no other sentient alien life forms that we know of. But that doesn't mean that there aren't alien creatures that are, more like animals or sirens that go by outside. I don't know if that came over on the microphone or not. All right, but let's roll for life forms and see what that tells us. 34. So, just barely into that second option. Many sites and planets are infested by dreadful forge spawn. Ooh. These aberrant creatures threaten to overrun other life in the galaxy. The forge spawn are hostile creatures born of the chaotic energies of this galaxy. Hundreds of abandoned or devastated outposts and derelict ships stand as testament to their dreadful power and cunning. You know what? Maybe that's actually part of why, maybe we had more people that kind of made it through into the Forge, but part of the transit, that chaotic process of getting settled here, is we settled in lots of places that were then quickly overrun by the Forge spawn, and that's why we only have fewer left. Okay, many sites and planets are infested by dreadful forge spawn. Okay. Now, precursors refers to like the ancient alien race that built a lot of stuff, and we'll see how we'll see what it's like for us here. We got a 41. Getting lots of middle options on this one. That's all right. That's how it goes sometimes. The Ascendancy, an advanced spacefaring empire, once ruled the entirety of the Forge. Vaults of inscrutable purpose are all that remain to mark the Ascendancy's legacy, but those places are untethered from our own reality. Interesting. Because especially this idea that they're untethered from our own reality, like how does that connect to the sundering, which is a fracturing of reality? Maybe that's what happened to the Ascendancy back when they were around. We don't know. It's a mystery. So let's see. The Ascendancy once ruled the Forge and built vaults of inscrutable purpose, but they are gone now, and the vaults are untethered from reality. And so it says, ascendancy vaults can appear spontaneously, washed up like flotsam in the tides of time. Their gravity and atmospheres pay no heed to natural laws. Some are corrupted and ruined. Others are unmarred and intact. Some are both at once. They are chaos. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. Okay. Horrors. So horrors is like ghosts, undead, that sort of thing. So let's see. What is the nature of horrors in our galaxy? Let's find out. 2. All right, well, put enough alcohol in a spacer and they'll tell you stories of ghost ships crewed by vengeful undead. It's nonsense. Within the Forge, space and time are as mutable and unstable as a flooding river. When reality can't be trusted, we are bound to encounter unsettling phenomena. Okay, well, but that still sounds like maybe they're out there, but not common enough for us to have a consensus reality about it. Oops, I am accidentally starting programs that I don't want to start because they will slow down, complicate the stream. There we go. Horrors. Spacers will tell stories of ghost ships, but it's nonsense. ... Question mark? All right, great. Okay, so those are our world truths. So let's move on. Oh, look, there's a horror. Space undead. Ooh. Yep, that's a scary guy. Create your character. All right, let's do it. All right, so close the notes there for the moment. Let's look now again at our character sheet. And then we're going to use assets too. So your character's scope, you are human, but apart from the human-centric assumption, you can envision your character as you like. There's no gameplay or setting restrictions that constrain your character's race, culture, disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Good. That's good. Just to highlight that whole approach, there's a little spot just for pronouns right there on the character sheet. All right, so name and pronouns are up here at the top, and so let's look at what we've got on the character sheet. So name, pronouns, call sign, that's fun. Characteristics, presumably that would be like maybe general demeanor and physical appearance. Then we've got our 5 stats. These are the same stats that we had in Ironsworn. Edge, which is like finesse or dexterity, like your ability to do precise things quickly, all of that sort of thing. Heart, which is kind of like force of personality, ability to connect with people, and that sort of thing. Iron is going to be your like physical strength and combat. Shadow is sneaky stuff. It's also what magic was in Ironsworn. And then wits, of course, intelligence. And then so legacies are a little different than they were in Ironsworn, so maybe we'll talk a little bit more about those in a bit, those quests, bonds, and discoveries. Get our background vow, and then impacts, where if we get messed up, we might get some of those. Momentum is a mechanical effect that we'll talk more about once we actually start playing, and then of course health, spirit, and supply resource trackers. So, character creation summary. I think this book has got all of this laid out really well in terms of just like, here's the order you do things. It's got page number references and everything, and they're even hyperlinked in the PDF, which is pretty great. So, for example, if I were to just click, it takes me right to that page. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I've got the asset cards, in a separate PDF here. But what I'm going to have to do once I choose them is I'm going to have to do a quick print screen, copy paste those to get them onto my my Roll20 screen for quick reference. But that's okay. But the point is I've got the assets. We're going to choose 2 paths. And then create backstory, write background vow, board your starship, final asset, and then set your stats, and then condition tracks and so on. All right, so yeah, all right. So got some nice artwork there. Look, we got a guy. He's got a robot leg. Actually, it looks like he's got two prosthetic legs there, and he's got an alien rhinoceros looking friend. That's pretty good. I like that. Cool. Okay, so ready the asset cards. And so the asset cards, as we can see, are divided into, you've got one command vehicle, you've got spaceship modules, you've got support vehicles, which would be like if you had a fighter that docked with your main ship, for example, or if you had a hover bike or something. Paths are, basically like, I don't know, like you can kind of call them like a class a little bit. We'll talk more about that. And then other assets, like this one is example as a companion. And so you can see in the list here, just realizing it's not 100% showing on the layout here. Let me see if I can, there we go, that's a little better. Okay, so we've got our command vehicle, and then all of these purple ones are modules. Then we get into the blue. These dark blue are support vehicles. Then we've got the lighter blue, which is the paths. And then these green, turquoise ones are, other types of assets. Are those all companions? Looks like they are. And then these green ones are deeds, which I think only come into play when you've been playing for a while, when you meet certain criteria that they list on them. All right, so let's see. We start by choosing two paths for our character. Now, this is another thing that we can roll for, but this is something that is new for Starforged, but I really kind of like as an idea is it gives, so you can choose any two path asset cards that you like, but it offers as suggestions various sort of archetypes of characters that you might want to play, and then says these are the two paths we would recommend if you want to play like that, which is kind of cool. And then it has a rollable table, so you could choose one of those, and I think that is very neat. So I'm going to roll, but like we've got a lot of different choices here, like got everything from battlefield medic to spiritualist to hotshot pilot to Tomb Raider. All those are good. Those are good. But let's do a roll and find out what kind of character we're going to play today. So we're going to roll percentile dice. 55. 55 is an occultist. I think I am going to veto that one just because we kind of made horrors not a very common thing in this world building setup, and I just feel like that's not what I'm feeling today. I'm open to letting the dice kind of dictate, but we can steer them a little because, you know what, we're in charge. So let's re-roll that. 65. Pilgrim. Interesting. How do I feel about that? We definitely set that the triumvirate, like this is there's a religious element to it. But you know what? I'm feeling something a little bit more gritty. So let's maybe do one more re-roll and then see how we feel about it. 78. 78 is a spiritualist. So I don't know if the dice are trying to tell me something here. What is going on here? So out of 3 rolls, we got occultist, pilgrim, and spiritualist. I don't know. If anyone in the chat has thoughts on that, I'm still thinking about whether to just let the dice tell me what I want. Because those are things that probably if I were choosing, like if I were to just look down the list and pick one, I probably wouldn't have picked any of those. But sometimes it's fun to see what the dice suggest. So let's see. The Pilgrim of a Lost Religion? Sure. Yeah. You know what? I buy it. So yeah, let's go with Pilgrim. So Pilgrim suggests that we take the Devotant and Explorer paths. So Devotant? Devotant, probably? Devotant? All right, so let's make, I'm going to not do our cropping out until I have all of them. But so let's, you know what, actually, let me quickly do that real quick. So I'm going to, please forgive me just for a moment while I will, I'm going to be creating a place to quick reference my various assets on the screen there, on my Roll20 screen. Okay. Starship. So first I'm getting my command vehicle Starship, and then from path I am choosing Devotant. Yeah, I mean, I guess devotant, because devotee is like a word, like, and I feel like I would know how to say that, but that's not what it says here. So, all right. So now let me. Yeah. So what you can't see on my screen is me doing just a quick and dirty paint, cut and paste, and crop. But it's going to be good, you'll see. And then, so it suggested Devotant and Explorer. Explorer is fun. Yeah, so let's, oh, there we go. Explorer's right there. And so we'll read the details of what those say in just a moment. Once we've got them. Okay. Oops. Explorer. Okay, now on my Roll20 screen, I will drag my asset cards into my Roll20 assets, and then down here in the blank space that I left for this very purpose, I'll put my Starship, make that big enough to read, my Devotant, I think is probably how that's supposed to be, and then Explorer. So the way asset cards work is that if the one that you pick has a filled-in circle, then that's the ability you start with, and then later, as you advance, you can potentially advance those cards and get the other abilities listed on there, or get new asset cards to start with. So, but let's look at the ones that we start with. So, to begin, we have a Starship, and so the armed multi-purpose Starship is suited for interstellar and atmospheric flight. It can comfortably transport several people, has space for cargo, and can carry and launch support vehicles. When you advance, you may spend experience to equip this vehicle with module assets. And so that's certainly, we saw what some of those cards were. But now let's look at Devotant and Explorer for our Pilgrim of a Lost Religion. One of the religions that's not one of the big three. That's kind of, I think that's a neat idea. We established that pretty much everyone is one of these big three, and then we're a pilgrim of one that's a different one. Well, that's kind of cool. So, we are going to need to name our ship. We'll do that in a bit. But so now, you worship a god, power, or entity. Give it a name and choose one of your stats to represent its nature. When you face danger or secure an advantage, and those are moves we can do in the game, by calling on it for guidance or blessings, roll the linked stat. On a hit, take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. On a strong hit with a match, a miracle or sign manifests. Take another +1 momentum or +1 spirit. All right. So, well, Prince Justin, welcome in the chat. I'm glad you found it, even if for whatever reason other notifications didn't let you know. Welcome. Let's see. We need to decide what our God entity is, and one of the things that we can use to help us decide that is all of these oracle tables that are, core oracles. We've got action, theme, descriptor, and focus are examples of, what we could call, or what's the nature of the God that we follow. So let's see. Action and theme are good for providing things like, what does this character want? What is this faction's mission? What caused the downfall of the settlement? What's this device's purpose? And then descriptor and focus can be like, what is the ship's cargo, nature of the plan? So, you know what? Let's try rolling once on each of those and kind of see if we can figure out what sort of a lost religion might be in line with all of that. You know what? It occurs to me too, actually. What if my character has received some sort of a vision that has made them a convert and a pilgrim of the religion of the ascendancy? So it's not one of the triumvirate, one of the faiths that we brought from our home galaxy, but it's the lost religion of the civilization that occupied the Forge before. I kind of dig that. But in any case, let's do some rolls on these oracles to see if it gives us a little bit more. So we're going to do 4 percentile dice and then use to action, theme, descriptor, and focus in that order. All right. So let's do 4 percentile dice. And we got an 83, a 38, another 83, and a 66. That's kind of weird. 83 and then 38, which is reverse, and then back to 83. Okay. Well, so 83 on action, scheme, and then 38 on theme, freedom. Scheme, freedom. Scheme, freedom. All right, let's maybe scheme, freedom, and then 83 on descriptor, rich, and then focus 66, rich relic. Okay, so let's see. Perhaps this religion of this lost religion of the ascendancy was like this. The scheme, has kind of a connotation to it, but it could just be like a plan. Like they wanted freedom from something, right? What would they have wanted freedom from? Like, did they want freedom from their physical existence? Did they want freedom from some sort of an oppression? But, the ascendancy were the rulers, but like this religion of the people of the ascendancy doesn't have to necessarily reflect the people who were in charge. But then rich relic. So maybe, what could that reflect? So we've got they had a plan to attain freedom from something, and we could imagine that ties somehow into this whole sundering of why the vaults are untethered in reality. And so maybe they were trying to find freedom from like the laws of reality as we understand them. Like, the idea of entropy. Oh, freedom from entropy? That's kind of an interesting idea. And so they had a plan for freedom from entropy. And so, like, Rich and Relic definitely seem like they could align with the idea that there's these vaults, right? And so the vaults were meant to house. The vaults maybe were made to preserve. Because, let's see, if they wanted freedom from entropy, then then they perhaps created the vaults. Oh, maybe that's why these vaults are untethered from reality, is because they were like experiments first to try to say, we have these things that are precious to us, and we are going to put them in these vaults that will protect them from entropy. And so maybe the original idea is that these vaults were a way to escape the entropy of the universe. And so they put all of the stuff they figured that they would need in there. Maybe it's a little bit like the idea of the Egyptian pyramids, except instead of it being just like a tomb, like the idea was, this is the things that you are protecting from the dangers of the outside world. But in that case, why are the actual people of the Ascendancy not still around? Or are they? Okay. So, if I am a devotant of this religion, perhaps in all of the chaotic energies of this new galaxy and the chaos that we left behind in the old galaxy, because recall that we established that everything fell apart in an age of chaos because of a loss of key resources. The idea is that transcending the entropy-bound realities of our physical universe is the only way to true peace, and that the vaults are perhaps clues that would lead us in the direction, because maybe that's why the Ascendancy isn't still here, and they actually found the truth, and maybe the clues for how they did it are going to be hidden in those vaults somewhere. I kind of like that. Okay, so but what do we call that, and what would the stat be? So let's see. So let's see. We've got a few more names. Let's see. We could do. Those are like location names. Let's see if. I'm just trying to think if there's a. Yeah, none of the, like, there's some great Oracle names for character names and ship names and so on, but I feel like this, like the name of a religion, so, you know what, let's just say it's Ascendancy. I mean, that's simple, and it's kind of just right there. I am a pilgrim of Ascendancy. And so, put that right there, and then we can clarify in here that First of all, let me make this bigger. Why is it not letting me? Okay, let me put a bigger text box in here. So I believe that the Ascendant, found a way to gain freedom from entropy whoops, I'm just going off the edge of the screen here, by transcending our physical reality. And the vaults left behind offer priceless relics and clues to how they managed their miraculous feat. All right, now I think, can I make that that text box? Where? Okay, so this text box definitely didn't do what I was intending it to do. There we go. So, all right, let me just do this. Okay. I believe that the Ascendancy found a way to gain freedom from entropy by transcending our physical reality, and the vaults left behind offer priceless relics and clues to how they managed their miraculous feat. That's good. I like that. Okay. So, what stat does it make sense that would represent that nature? So, that feels like, so once again, our stats here: edge, heart, iron, shadow, and wits. I feel like, since we're getting a little bit of like ascending into energy beings vibe, or learning how to, like, philosophical religion vibe, I feel like maybe it would be heart or maybe it would be wits. Kind of, it's kind of almost like a philosophical question, right? Like, does the transcendent leaving behind of our physical reality reflect a triumph of the mind or of the soul? Right? That's kind of, so we could, one of the other ways that oracles can be used in this game is you essentially say, well, if I'm trying to choose between two things, roll for it, right? So I can roll a percentile dice and say, okay, if it's lower than 50, then it's heart, and if it's higher than 50, then it's wits. Unless anyone in the chat just has their heart set on something. Of course, I just said heart, so maybe that should be it. But let's roll, as I was just suggesting. Okay, well, 30, that's lower than 50, so that is heart. So ended up being heart anyway. That's one of the fun things about some of these oracle rolls, is that they occasionally feel kind of magical. All right, so let's fill that in. Heart. Then I can put that up where it goes. So, because I am a devotante of the Ascendancy, I worship the Ascendancy. And when I face danger or secure an advantage by calling on the Ascendancy for guidance or blessings, I will roll heart, and on a hit, I will take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. That's interesting, yeah. Okay, and then on a strong hit with a match, a miracle or a sign manifests. And take another +1 momentum or +1 spirit. Great, okay. So our other asset here, our other path asset, is Explorer. So Explorer, the ability that we have to start is, when you explore a waypoint, take +1 momentum on a hit. When you finish an expedition and score a hit, mark 1 extra tick on your Discovery's legacy track. So let's talk about that a little bit. So back on our character sheet, we have quests, bonds, and discoveries. And so basically the idea there is when you fill boxes on these progress tracks, that's how you gain experience. And so when you make vows and then fulfill quests, you fill the quests tracker. When you make bonds and connect with NPCs and other characters, you fill the bonds tracker and you can gain experience that way. And then we just talked about discoveries, ways to fill the discoveries tracker. So our explorer ability is good for exploring waypoints or finishing expeditions. So good. Yeah. So that's some good stuff, and we know, what? Just because I am, I get anal about these sorts of things, I want to make this one just I want to make the text match a little bit better in terms of where it fits. All right. So apologies for people watching the stream who don't care about this stuff, who have to watch me fuss with it. But you're welcome to the people who are like me, who were annoyed that the text rows extended further than they should. All right. So let's go back to page 94, which is where we were for the character building. All right, so choose 2 paths. That's what we just did, right? All right, so next, create your backstory. Well, so we just established that with Devotante, I had some kind of a vision, right? That led me to my current, path, so to speak. But that doesn't necessarily reflect what I was before, right? So let's just roll for one of these backstory prompts and see what it offers us. What do the oracles of Starforged offer? 90. So 90 is your ambitions outgrew your humble origins. Ambitions outgrew your humble origins. Well, let's see. Maybe my ambitions outgrew my humble origins comes from the idea that, like, I had humble origins, of course, but I desired to be more powerful and to have more wealth and control and all of those sorts of ordinary sorts of things. And I maybe, maybe that's what happened, is that early on in my time here in the Forge, I sought out one of these vaults with the hope that it would gain me wealth with some miraculous discovery, and that I would be able to be powerful as a result. But that's where I had this sort of transformative vision that told me that seeking material resources and power over other physical beings is the wrong approach. And that's why what we should really all be seeking is the clues for how to become free of entropy. And yeah, so that makes sense to me. So, like, I was exploring one of these vaults with the hope of basically being like a tomb robber, but now I have been, I received a vision that converted me to believing that the Ascendancy actually had it right all along. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so here, let's type that out here too. So let's do another text here. I came from a poor spacer family, but sought the wealth and power my parents never had. And this led me to explore an ascendancy vault, hoping for treasure and renown. Spelling. No. Is that right? For some reason, I thought, okay, maybe I'm, whatever. Hoping for treasure and renown. But instead, I found enlightenment as I received a vision of the true path of the ascendancy, offering freedom from chaos and entropy. All right, nice. Yes, Vault Hunter turned Acolyte. All right, cool. Cool. Okay. That's great. Okay, so now I've got my backstory here. Write your background vow. Okay, well, you know what? We've already gotten there, haven't we? So the background vow, for anyone who didn't play Ironsworn, is supposed to be your ultimate long-term goal, right? It's not the thing you're doing today so that you can eat. It's not the thing that you're doing for the next week so that you can afford an upgrade to your spaceship. It is, what is my life's work, right? And so we know what it is right now, right? Like this, mechanically, when we set these vows, we set them in terms of different categories, and that they can either be, as indicated by these connections, they can be troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, or epic. Now, the background vow is always epic, and that just means it reflects that it takes the longest to do. And so, my background vow is pretty clear, right? It is discover the path to true ascendancy. All right, let me get that aligned properly here. There we go. And so what that means is that as I will be doing all of my other stuff, I will gradually, as I become, find new clues that might lead me in that direction, I'll slowly make progress on that ultimate vow. Okay. Here, I'm also going to phrase it as a vow, because I vow to discover, you know what? How about this? Not merely discover it. Oops. I vow to discover the path to true ascendancy and lead humanity to its destiny. How about that for an epic vow, huh? Nice. I like that. I'm a pilgrim. I don't think small. All right. So that's our background vow. Now we're going to board our starship. Okay, so we're going to, as it suggests here, we start with our basic command vehicle, Starship. We've got the card here. And we can claim these two other abilities with, we could buy those with experience. that if we have all that. So we want to give the starship a history, it suggests. So let's keep rolling. We've had some fun results from just rolling, so let's see. Let's see. The history is 20, so on that would be claimed as spoils of war. My ship was claimed as spoils of war. So perhaps, like, spoils of war raises a couple of questions, right? Because one is which war? And also, why was I in a position to claim it as a spoil of war? It could be, for example, that, okay, so let's see. We talked about humble origins, right? Like, my family were spacers, but they didn't ever have, like, what do we think about the idea that this was my family's ship, right? Like, maybe the spoils of war was like a long time ago. Maybe that's like how my parents got it, and now I just inherited it from them. Or it could be that I came into it as part of, like, when I left my family behind, I tried to maybe I tried to well, how about this? Let's do some oracles. So, like, let's say it could have been the ship that has come down in my family. Well, inherited from a relative or mentor is already on there, and claimed as spoils of war. So let's maybe try to be true to that and not try to make it some other category. So we've got spoils of war. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to interpret spoils of war broadly here. I'm going to say it was left behind by someone else who also tried to explore this same vault where I had my vision. And when I was finished with my vision, I saw this ship now abandoned but functional, and I just knew that it was intended that it's mine now. And so because the person who brought it to this vault was not worthy of this mission, and now I have been guided to this ship that will be for the purpose that of my own. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense, right? Okay, so, and we want to envision the starship. So, it suggests we roll twice on this oracle. So let's find out a bit more about what it's like. So let's roll 2 percentile dice. All right, 86 and 19. So 86 strange symbols are scrawled on the deck and bulkheads in the main corridor. How cool is that? Already aligned with with our whole approach here. And then 19 is gravity generator is notoriously fickle. That is actually kind of a fun sort of, like, very sort of nuts and bolts physical grounded reality to it that complements nicely the creepy strange symbols, I think. So maybe that's how I knew, right? That the ship was like, maybe that's how I knew that the ship was intended for me, is that these symbols, clearly not originally on the ship, but added there to match the symbols that I saw in my vision. Very nice. Okay, cool. And then there's a name. We need to name the starship. And so there is a there is a name Starship names Oracle. So let's we're a pilgrim here. We're being guided by the ascendancy. So let's see what the Oracle suggests. 62. Poltergeist. Does that fit with what we've been doing? I don't know. I feel like there might be something better. You know what? I'm going to roll twice more and we'll pick from the 3. All right, 37 and 38. Okay. Well, 38 was like, the significant number we talked about earlier, but let's see what 37 and 38 are. Implicit and Inferno. Implicit is kind of interesting. As a Starship name, the Implicit. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of dig that. It's a little enigmatic, but that maybe kind of works with, it works with, Oh, so in the chat, we've got a suggestion of Holy Spirit. Yeah. And then Prince Justin says implicit sounds very culture, which that's a series of books that I guess I'm sort of I'm aware of, but I haven't read any of. But you know what? I kind of like just implicit, which I don't know. Actually, you know what? I am gosh. Yeah, I feel like I'm intrigued by implicit, but I'm not in love with any of those. So let me do a couple more and see if one of those really feels like the perfect one. Well, we got a 39 there, which is just funny with the 37 and the 38. So, but 25 would be Fallen Light, and then 39 is Invictus. Invictus is kind of ominous. You see that, like with Inferno, right? Is like those feel kind of like hellfiery, which doesn't really seem like that's what our religion is about. But what about Fallen Light? Like, see, a lot of those are sort of like feel a little darker. Yeah, none of those are feeling perfect yet. 15. Dawn's Herald. There we go. Dawn's Herald. All right, yeah. I feel like that immediately feels right compared to the others that we've seen. Okay. So, let's see if I can get back to where I was. Okay. All right, so my ship, I just was Dawn's Herald, wasn't that right? Well, that's what it was. I feel like I just I feel like I just lost it. Yeah, Dawn's Herald. That was right. I was right. I should have just trusted myself. Okay, so here we go. My ship, the Dawn's Herald, awaited me after I woke from my vision, my ascendant vision. I don't know who flew it before, but it was abandoned when I found it. Let's see. the deck and bulkheads were scrawled with strange symbols that matched my vision, proving I was meant to have it. It flies well, even if the gravity generator occasionally the gravity generator occasionally cuts out at inconvenient oops. Where's my cursor? Inconvenient times. All right, cool. There's my ship. Okay, so we've done these. Choose your final asset. Okay, so now I can choose from a module for the Starship, a support vehicle, a companion, or another path. So let's look at the other assets again. So let's briefly scan through and see what feels like the right pairing with what we've established so far. And welcome to any of you who have joined. I'm having fun with the preview version of Starforged here, and we're still just building our character out, but then we're gonna try running an adventure or so. So let's see. Ship modules, engine upgrade, expanded hold, heavy cannons, internal refit. You know what we could do again is to have the oracles guide us a little bit. So, for example, there's choices between modules, support vehicle, path, or companion. And so let's roll an oracle. And so if it's like 1 to 25, it would be, a ship module, 26 to 50, a support vehicle, and so on, so on. Does that? I think that works. So let's see. So 79 would be in our fourth. So that would suggest a companion. Okay, interesting. So companions are basically like a pet or a little robot, or a sidekick. Yeah. So okay. So let's see. We could have. Do we want to have like an animal companion or a little robot buddy? So the choices here, we've got. Let's see what we've got. We've got. We've got an enthusiastic vote for robot from Prince Justin in the chat. So sure, let's look at our robot options. Like sidekick looks like it would be like general. You could make that like a person, but you could also probably use that as sort of a flexible any kind of thing that wouldn't fit otherwise. But so we've got combat bot, survey bot, or utility bot are the robot options. Now, I think probably not combat bot, right? Because I'm an explorer is one of my paths. If I was looking for, you know what? How about survey bot? Yeah, you know what? Survey bot just feels like it's the best fit with the other things that I've got. So if I were to pick survey bot, let's see, the ability I would get to begin with is your survey bot scans the path ahead. When you undertake an expedition using wits, over land or within a site, add +1. And yeah, I feel like that makes sense. So let's just go ahead and pick that. And let me briefly take the time to crop that one out and put it in my little spot for easy reference. Okay. And save as survey bot. All right. Now back over here. Upload survey bot. All right, there we go. Okay, so I've just typed text into where it makes sense to put those. So let's move these down a bit. All right. Okay, and then now survey bot. Oops. All right, so there we go. Now we've got that, and so we can see that the survey bot has a little health track of its own in case it were to take damage. All right, so great. So we've chosen our final asset now. Now we set our stats, and so what we need to do is we go back up to our 5 stats, and we're choosing, we have 1 3, 2 2s, and 2 1s that we're going to assign all of our stats to. And so these stats are a bit like any game that's going to have, stat modifiers where, when I do a roll plus heart, it'll be the d6, as mentioned previously, plus whatever I put in there. And it's always going to be between 1 and 3. So we have built in that, like my devotant path will have me occasionally rolling that stat for benefits, right? So just mechanically, it maybe makes sense both for that mechanical factor, but then also just in general, like the idea that if I'm a pilgrim and I'm trying to let's see, let's put in the ship's name. If I'm a pilgrim and I'm trying to save humanity, it makes sense that heart would be my #1 stat, which is kind of interesting just because I tend to be drawn to that anyway. When I played a bunch of solo Ironsworn, I also made a character whose heart was their best stat. So let's put +3 in heart, and line those up. So now I've also got I've got 2 2s, and if I'm someone that is trying to explore and understand things, maybe shadow and wits would be my best. Well, so actually, so shadow is sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. See, I was kind of thinking that it was more stealth, but that's not really what I had in mind here. But edge would be quickness, agility, and prowess when fighting at a distance. Wits is expertise, knowledge, and observation. So let's put a 2 for that in wits. I don't know. What do you guys think about where should the other 2 go? So obviously the choices are edge, which is quickness, agility, and prowess when fighting from a distance. Iron, physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness. and then shadow, sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. Does anyone in the chat have thoughts about that? Otherwise, I could do another oracle roll to guide guide this choice. Well, once again, Prince Justin is there. Whoops. Oh, let's see. We've also got a suggestion like hiding your ship needs shadow, like if hiding from other ships. That makes sense too if I was going to be like stealthy from a ship. But I think, oh, well, see, now we're getting multiple votes. So we got, an edge and a shadow. Yeah, you know what? Let's do shadow. We've got a couple of votes for shadow. Let's just do that. All right, from my Tomb Raider days. Yeah, okay. So that gives me +1 for edge and +1 for iron. And I'll try to make those all line up in just a moment here. Oops. Okay. All right. Doesn't line up perfectly because just the nature of the way I'm doing it like this. But once there's the fancy official Roll20 character sheet, no more slightly misaligned numbers. All right, so that's great. We set our stats. Okay, and now set your condition tracks. That's just going to be like there's no decisions to be made there. That's just those are just trackers of the current state. So let me find just a fun little token to put on those. Here, I got a little cool fireball token thing. I'll make it a small one, just to all right, and then copy. So starting off with 5 health. And then 5 spirit, 5 supply, and so my momentum starts at +2. That's the reset. We can add down here that our current reset is +2. Oops. And that our max is currently +10. And the reason we have little fields where we could track those is because it's possible for various things to change your maximum or your reset depending on certain conditions that you might have. And so the way momentum works in general, and we'll talk more about it in detail when we're actually making some rolls, but the basic concept of it is that the higher your momentum, the better, because you can occasionally cancel out some of the challenge dice to turn what might have been a miss into a weak hit, or a weak hit into a strong hit, and that way, you can sort of, if you try to build your momentum, keep it high, because then you can use it to turn the bad rolls in your favor. So that's handy. Okay, so now we want to envision our character to talk about, define 1 or 2 facts for their physical look, how they act, and what they wear. You don't need much detail. All right, so I think by nature of our conversion, right? I think, like, we don't have to necessarily be, like, stern and humorless, but I think, because, like, the whole idea of this approach is, like, there's a recognition, first of all, that it's not one of the existing 3 powerful religions, right? So I can't be too aggressive about it, or else I'm just going to get into trouble. So I could perhaps be I don't know, like I keep wanting to say, like, maybe I'm sort of like gentle and a bit, I don't know, like I like gentle, but with a like a current. Oops, I didn't mean to change that text. I meant to make a new text box up here in characteristics. Like I keep coming back in my head to the word gentle, um, but with a force of conviction. Um, and then dress in um, dress for function rather than style, because we're trying to get past the the like the physicalities of it, and the style is not what's important, right? Like it is, that's kind of a trivial concern, um, and no need to waste precious resources on that. Um, and then what do we want to say? Uh, you know what? Like maybe that's enough. Yeah, I think maybe that's enough. I don't know that we need more than that necessarily. Like I tend to be someone who doesn't necessarily put a lot of detail into physical descriptions of stuff, but of characters. I mean, but yeah, and so yeah, and so name character. So let's go to 171 and and see and roll for names. Okay. So character name, there's a bunch of names, and then there's also given name, family name, and call sign. That so we can have 1 percentile dice to say like which page, right? And then another roll. Oh no, I see it. So it's 1 percentile die to determine what row. But let's roll 3 times, once for given name, family name, and then call sign. Yeah. Let's see what that gives us. With, of course, always remembering, if something just feels like, nope, I just don't like that, then we can always change it. But let's see what we get. 52, 42, 41. Okay, so 52 for given name is Kiana, which I like that, okay. Um, let's see. Kiana. Let's see, I think we could probably do bigger text than that. There we go. Kiana, and then 42, Bridger. Kiana Bridger. Yeah, I like that. But then call sign, because I think call sign feels like that's where it's going to be. We'll see what that's going to be here. Gut shot. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Not for what we've established so far. I don't think that works. So let's try another roll. 95 for call sign. Watchdog. Better than gut shot. Let's try another. 19. Centurion. Because I'm kind of feeling like I want the call sign to not be what it was. I feel like I would have taken a new call sign after all of this, right? So let's keep going. So 63, 63 would be overload. Nah. 27 would be, cipher. 6 would be bash. No. We'll get to one. I rolled a 6 again. 77. Shutdown. You know what? How about this? What if it's just pilgrim? We've also got a suggestion in the chat for Wayfinder. That's pretty good too. I like Wayfinder. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let's just go with Wayfinder. Wayfinder's good. Oops. Wayfinder. Wayfinder's pretty good. All right. Wayfinder. And then I think Wayfinder is a she, her. Doesn't have to be, but will be in this case. Oops. All right. Okay. Making progress on a character. All right. So, where are we next in our, so we, building a character. Oops, there we go. We named our character. Gear up. Okay. So, in Starforged, you won't need a detailed list of equipment. Your supply track is an abstract representation of general readiness. And so that's what we've got, our supply track here. And so basically, when you need something, you pull it from supply. That's just how it works. And so you can assume you have access to some fundamental necessities necessary for space travel and exploration. And then your spacer kit, which would include a sealed environment suit, flashlights and headlamps, toolkit, med kit, and a personal communicator. Nice. And then apart from the spacer kit, make note of any specific gear which represents an important aspect of your character's approach. Also, consider the object that you swear iron vows upon. What is this object's history? And why is it important to you? Well, and if we recall, we established that the iron in our setting is black iron, an enigmatic living metal. So it's got to be a holy symbol made of black iron that I found in the vault, right? I mean, how could it be anything but that, right? It's got to be. So let's see. It's got some blank lines here. It's not obvious that that's where equipment would go, but there's not really another spot for it. So I think just put there that that's a holy symbol made from black iron found in the vault. But here's the thing, what does it look like, right? Like, because it could look like some symbol I saw in my vision, but just for us to have a mental picture of it, what does it look like? I mean, it could look kind of like, well, so I'm scrolling through some of this because there was some artwork I remember seeing for vaults. Well, also we're just seeing a lot of hexagons in these artworks. Let's see. Precursor vaults. Yeah, look at that, right? Like that's a sample map of a vault. It's a hexagon. So right, yeah. So that's what the holy symbol is. It's a hexagon. Okay. All right. Let's a hexagonal holy symbol made from black iron found in the vault. All right. Groovy. That's very good. I like that. All right. So next, so we've built our character, and so next is build a starting sector, and so we're going to have a lot more roles and such to do. So let's prepare a starting sector. We have the sector worksheet right here, and the connections worksheet, which is this one. So what is a sector? A sector is a settled or explored area of space. In the fiction of our setting, sectors are named and provide the people of the Forge common means of identifying a location or mapping the domains of a power or faction. Excuse me, burp. Okay, let's create a sector. Choose your starting region. So the Forge is a vast galaxy, so let's choose a region to begin your adventures. It's described in more detail on page 14, which we'll click over to in a moment. We're choosing between Terminus, Outlands, Expanse, or Void. So we're on 106, but let's jump to 14. There we go. Here's a nice picture to kind of highlight some of this. So you can see, like, the idea here is, here's our original galaxy, but we have a little globular cluster galaxy that's separate from our original galaxy. It's up here. And so Terminus would be down here in this area that we have kind of extremely well settled. Outlands is a little bit less, and then Expanse is much more sparse, and then Void, where things are very sparse, is the basic idea. So, you know, the Terminus, people landed in this region following their exodus. Settlements are more common. Competition for resources. Outlands is people have pushed out there. It's a little bit more scattered. Of course, we established that it's scattered even in the best of places, but so it's all just kind of shifts the scale out. The Expanse is just a few bold pioneers, and the Void, just a few isolated stars and vast gulfs of nothing. So let's say that maybe we're not in Terminus, but maybe we're in the Outlands, right? Like, we're not in the most populated area, but we're not so far out either, you know, because you know, we need to find some people we can talk to, you know. So let's say we're in the region. The region is going to be the Outlands. All right. Okay. So we've got the region is Outlands. Determine the number of settlements. And so here's where we'll generate a few settlements in the starting sector. And so we choose depending on where we are. So for the Outlands, it suggests 3 settlements. All right, sure. And that feels manageable. So generate settlement details. And we've got some, it gives us links to the settlement oracles. So we're going to come back to this page and jump to the settlement oracles starting on the page 160. For each of the settlements in your starting sector, roll on the following tables: settlement name, location, population, authority, and 2 settlement projects. Okay. So let's go and so let's start. This is for settlement number 1. Let's roll D100, and you see we've got different tables essentially for where we are. So let's first roll. We got 28. So for Outlands. Oh wait, no, I see. So 28. This is a planet side settlement. Okay. And then we roll again for population. 73 is thousands. Okay, so this is a planet-side settlement with a population of thousands. That's pretty big for this region, I would think. Okay, let's just planet-side. No hyphen in this book. Population, thousands. Let's see. Okay. And then so settlement detail. Hang on, let me come back to where we were. Wow, look at all of that stuff. Okay, so we got location and population. Now we want authority on 161. And projects, I feel like I'm not sure that, does that match? Okay, there's authority. So authority, we got a variety of things here. So authority, 42. So this is a tolerant. All right. Okay. And then 2 settlement projects, 78 and 19. So 78, spirituality, and then 19, energy. Okay. So spirituality, which is probably not, it's not going to be my religion, because mine is the, my religion of the ascendancy. It's going to be one of the triumvirate for sure, right? And energy. Okay. All right. So let's okay. So we did, yeah, okay, so we've got, you know what, let me, let's make this a little bit smaller to fit it better in the box here. Okay. And then we'll roll a name for it. So population, just to match their corrupt. Oh no, not corrupt, but tolerant was ours. And I'm not, it was corrupt on the example one. And then project. Okay, and then, and so let's roll a name, which is 163. So this settlement is called 33 Hearth. Okay, sure, yeah. Hearth. Okay, cool. And oops. Let's see. Let's make a bookmark here. Oops. You know what? Never mind. Okay, so we got that, and then for now, don't roll on the other settlement tables. You can reveal other aspects of those places when you visit and interact with them. Sounds good. Okay, so now we're going to do this 2 more times, because we established we're going to be 3 settlements, right? Okay, so now we're going to do our second settlement. So we're going to do 2 rolls for location and population. 14 and 75, so we've got another planet side, and then 75 is also thousands. Okay, so we've got another big planet side one. Okay. Planet side, whoops. Pop thousands. And then the authority is 1, none, lawless. Okay. Wow. A lawless thousands of population. Lawless. Wow. Projects. And now we get 2 projects. 10 and 19. That's going to be black market. Makes sense, right? And then 19, also energy. Let's roll that one again just so we don't double up. I mean, it could be competition, right? Like that could be interesting, but let's roll again. Ooh, 100. Action and theme. Okay, so what that means is that we're actually going to roll on a different table. We're going to roll those action and theme oracles. There we go. So now we roll 2 D100s for that. 2044. So action, charge, 44. Charge home. Okay. Charge home. Maybe that settlement has a bunch of people who are trying to figure out, like they're trying to make a plan to have people maybe go back to the home galaxy. Like, maybe they think, hey, it actually wasn't so bad. Maybe this place is kind of chaotic. Maybe we should try going back. Maybe it's better now. Yeah, I kind of like that. And so let's 163. Let's get a name for this place. 69. Nice. Ramshackle. Oh my God, how perfect is that for this place? Okay. Ramshackle. Planet-side settlement with thousands of people, but it's lawless, has a big black market there, and Charge Home, which is an organized group trying to rebuild the FTL drives so they can go back to the old galaxy. And that's great because remember in our World Truths section, we established that these experimental FTL drives, we think they called the sundering, this fracturing of reality. So it makes sense that we would need that, like it would be on a lawless settlement where something like that would happen. That's fun. I like that. Okay, great. So let's do our third settlement. Let's roll another 2 for location and population. 12 and 20. You know what? Just so that I'm gonna re-roll the first one again, just so that we have one that's not another planet side, just to mix it up a little bit more. So I'm going to keep that 25, which is dozens, but let's roll again to see if it's going to be orbital or deep space. All right, deep space. Okay, nice. Next is deep space settlement with dozens of people. All right. Space. Pop. Dozens. Authority. Okay. Let's roll for authority. 78. Corrupt. All right. And then projects. 81 and 93. 81 is subsistence. Makes sense for such a small settlement. And then 93 is warfare. So that's a perfect example. Project subsistence. Oh, you guys. You realize what this means, right? They're pirates. A band of dozens of people with a deep space settlement that are corrupt and function on subsistence and warfare, they're pirates. They're totally pirates. How could they not be pirates? Of course they're pirates. That's amazing. Okay. Let's find out what the settlement name is for this den of scum and villainy. 17. Dead Rock. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Dead Rock. Okay. Pirates. You know what? Pirates! Capitalize. Exclamation point. Holy crap, you guys. This is good. This is good. Look at our 3. We've got one big planet-side settlement that is super religious and focused on, energy. Makes sense that it's kind of just, it's a, like they're doing ordinary settlement sort of thing, but there's very religious, even though they're tolerant about it. But then we've also got the lawless place that's got a black market so they're, you know what, because we want to make sure it's not just, doing pirates again, maybe they're more like an anarchist, sort of place, right? Like, it's really, there's no central authority. It's really kind of just do what you want, as opposed to the much smaller band of pirates. It's, yeah, this is good stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, it's basically like, it's Mos Eisley, right? No, that would be wrong, because Mos Eisley is definitely like, it's not lawless, it's like, the Hutts run it, basically. And they just don't care very much for basic stuff. But yeah, okay, that's good. Got Hearth, Ramshackle, and Dead Rock. Perfect. Okay, and so let's look at how we're... okay, so we've generated the settlement details. And now we're going to generate planets, and we've got 2 of them that are located on a planet or in orbit around a planet. So we're going to generate a planet, for each of those. So we're going to learn the planet type, and then we can get a planet name, and then don't do the other roles for the planets yet. Okay, all right. So we're going to do 2 of those, and then we'll do the stars for each, and it's optional, but look, we're going to do it, right? Right? Of course we are. Okay, so let's go to the planet oracles. Okay, so let's first of all find out, where is Hearth? What kind of planet is Hearth on? Let's find out. I can't wait. I can't wait, you guys. 20. It's on a furnace world. That makes so much sense with the energy project, right? Totally. Okay. It is on planet furnace world. Okay, and then furnace world. See, like, these are all of the other features that it mentioned not doing. But so here's the sample names. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. So there's 20. So we'll roll a d20 to name it. 20. Okay. Vesuvius. Nice. So Hearth, the energy settlement, is on a furnace world named Vesuvius. These oracles are magic sometimes, I swear. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, And then what star is that around, right? We need the star. Where are those? Hang on. Let me go back to that page. Where's the stars? The stars are stellar objects. Okay. And so Vesuvius is located around what kind of stellar object? 83. Two stars in close orbit connected by fiery tendrils of energy. That's great. Furnace world in orbit around two stars in close orbit with fiery tendrils between them. That's great stuff. That is so good. I love that quite a bit. Okay, okay. Hang on, let me make this fit. Okay. We could probably, I don't know if, we could, we're going to name our sector in a second. We could name the stars in a bit, but maybe not yet. All right, so let's do a planet for Ramshackle now. Ramshackle 82. 82 is a rocky world. Okay, rocky. All right, rocky world. Rocky world. And that's probably also going to be 20. Okay, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be another D20 for the name. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dusk. All right, great. Planet Dusk, rocky. And then that orbits 78. A neutron star surrounded by intense magnetic fields. Crazy. Orbits neutron star intense magnetic fields. Great. Okay, nice. Here, let's see if I can make this fit a little better. All right. There we go. Okay, very nice. Okay, that's great. That's good. That's good stuff. All right. Now, where were we? We're mapping our sector. So we generated our planets and the stars relevant to those. Create a sector map. Your sector worksheet includes space to draw a map of the sector. One important note, keep it simple. And it suggests an orbital settlement with a circle with an arrow, a planet-side settlement, circle with a plus sign, deep space settlement is a square. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty basic. But, of course, part of the idea here is that you fill out the map with more details in, as you go. But let's see. Let's use red for make a little, and then let's see. Oops. That's not what I was trying to do. Trying to make a little plus sign. Okay. Okay. Ah, hang on. This is where like the little freehand drawing is like not, always what we'd want. Um, let's see. I can make that one. There we go. That works pretty well. Okay, great. Okay. Bloop. All right. And then that's going to be, I'm going to select all of that and then copy it to make ramshackle. But maybe ramshackle we can make be purple. There we go. And then we'll make a square for a blue square for dead rock. Oh well, what am I thinking? Black. All right. Text. Hearth. And ramshackle. And dead rock. Okay. All right, so got the beginnings of a sector map here. Great. Create passages. Okay. You'll set which, so the way that the travel in this game works is that there are drifts. Like when you are traveling, at faster than light speeds, you're having to follow kind of like, it's not so much that you have to, like, mandatory, like that's how the science works, follow certain paths, but there are defined paths, kind of like in Star Wars there's hyperspace lanes, because it's essentially like, there's nothing in the way, you're not going to fly through a star and end your trip pretty quick. But so instead, a passage is a charted route among the drifts. Spacers rely on these routes for travel and trade. Think of it like using a GPS in freeways. And so following a passage allows you to resolve the outcome of a perilous journey with a single roll of the dice using the set a course move. It makes it easier to manage your resources. But if you're trying to go somewhere that doesn't have a charted path, you'll undertake an expedition. Okay. And so we're going to set the number of passages. And we've got how many passages are in our sector? Well, in the Outlands, there's 2 passages. Okay, in the normal course of your game, let's see, mark passages. So draw the passages as lines on your sector map. Each passage should do one of 2 things. Connect 2 settlements, or connect a settlement to the edge of your sector map leading to another sector. Okay, I think it makes sense that the one that would lead to another sector is probably Hearth. They're a little bit more organized. So I'm going to draw, all right, so that's passage 1, that goes from Hearth to another sector, and then the passage 2 will connect Hearth and Ramshackle. That seems like clear that would be how those 2 paths would work. Well, let's see. The sector paths remind me of Diaspora. Is that another tabletop game? And the whole bit of the setting creation is setting out which systems are connected by which paths. Yeah, so, all right. And it makes sense that the pirates don't have, like, specific charted passages. Like, maybe they know some, but they're not, like, widely known. They would be secret. Okay, great. I'm not sure I like that color, though. Let me see if I can find a better color. Nope. Let's see. I don't have any blue stuff. Uh, maybe just a darker green? No, 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 no. Gosh, so many hard decisions to make. Um, you know what? It's just going to be that color for now. I might change my mind later. All right. So, all right. So in this example, so in the example that they're having here, um, the idea that a settlement is not connected by a passage might mean that its location is uncertain, the data for the passage is not openly shared, or a previous passage has been undone by chaotic changes within the forge. Yeah. Yeah, so that makes work. That makes sense. All right, now we're going to zoom in on a settlement. It will be helpful to have some additional detail for one of the settlements in your starting sector. You might begin the campaign in the midst of a layover or are just arriving there as your story opens. Choose one of the settlements in your starting sector, whichever is most interesting to you. Okay, so here's a question. What about you all in the chat? What do you think? You want to see us start out on Hearth or on Ramshackle? I think it makes less sense to start in Dead Rock unless what we're trying to say is that I've just been captured by pirates, which could be cool. But I don't know if that's certainly a choice when it comes to starting a story. We could also do an oracle, like where, for example, like 1 through 45 would be Hearth, 46 through 90 would be Ramshackle, and then 91 through 100 captured by pirates. Let's see. Yeah, captured by pirates is a weird story start. You know what? Let's see. So Kiwi first says 91. Well, let's see. We got some votes. You know what? Let's just do. You know what? I can't decide. I like my rolling idea. We've had some really good stuff with rolls. So let's do that rolling idea where 1 through 45 Hearth, or actually for that matter, you know what? I'm just going to do my original plan. Okay, so 1 through 45 Hearth, 46 through 90 Ramshackle, 91 to 100 captured by pirates. 45. Okay, so that's right on that that switch. So that would have us starting out on Hearth. Okay, so now if we're starting out on Hearth, we're going to go back to the first look page and roll 1 to 2 times to get us a sense of like what is going on at, what does it look like in this settlement. And then also we're going to do settlement trouble. Okay. And then if the settlement is planet-side or in orbit, we can also determine what's the atmosphere of this planet, what's it look like when you're observed from space, and what's a planet-side feature. Okay, yeah, oh, that's good. Yeah, it's just as well we didn't do captured by pirates because we wouldn't be doing some of this stuff. Okay, so we're going to see. Well, you know what? I feel like it makes more sense to do the planet bits first. So like, we established planet-side atmosphere. So we got 1, 2, 3, got 6. So roll a d6 for our to determine the atmosphere on this planet. 6. Oh, ideal. That is unexpected for a furnace planet orbiting a binary star, but that's good. That's fun. Okay, so, all right. So the planet, Atmo, ideal, and then, so observing from space. Let's roll 2 D100s. 35 and 58. So seen from space, there are magma seas and 58 is once verdant terrain. Interesting. All right. And then, so planet side features. Um, from space. Planet side. Two more. 32 and 12. So we've got lava tube tunnel networks. And 12, which is catastrophic earthquakes. You know what makes sense to me in this context is that maybe what happened is that this planet used to just orbit around one star, but in the chaotic nature of this galaxy, another star sort of swung in and began this binary orbit, and so now Vesuvius is this, you know, it's also, it's Vesuvius. We've got the once verdant planet, now a furnace world because it's Vesuvius. Pompeii, in case anyone is curious, you can Google that. But yeah, so, but maybe, yeah, it's now, it's this source for tons and tons of, geothermal energy because it's planet kind of being torn apart by being now orbiting a binary star system. Okay, and then, hang on, what were we? Okay, and then we need a settlement trouble. So we've defined the planet, and now we need 2 first looks for the settlement and a settlement trouble. All right, so first looks for the settlement. Let's get 2 of those. 72 and 45. So we've got rustic architecture. Think about what that means. 45, industrial architecture. Rustic and industrial architecture. That maybe makes sense because we've got industrial for all of the energy harvesting, right? And then because it's also got a spirituality, maybe they have these like domed areas where they try to preserve the like the greenery, and they try to have it be like these meditation gardens for the for the religion that's there, and they have the rustic architecture in there. I think that's fun. Domed gardens. All right. For energy. Problem. And then the problem, the settlement trouble rather, is going to be 52. Plagued by sickness. Man, these folks, seems like they'd have a lot going on, a lot of other stuff going on, but they're also plagued by sickness. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so we are. All right. So we have established the first look, this place that has these domed gardens in the industrial architecture. Oh yeah, sulfur poisoning. Maybe that's, yeah, that makes sense. That yeah, they are finding that the people who do the work on the energy, and as opposed to the staying in the domed areas, are, you know, are getting sick from that work. Yeah, that could be good. Okay, so we defined the planet. We did say the atmosphere was ideal, but maybe that means ideal when it's not being disrupted by volcanic vents. All right. Okay. Now let's create a local connection. Or working underground. That's a good point too. Yeah. Okay, so a connection represents an important relationship with a non-player character. And so now we're going to go up to our connection. Connection worksheet. All right. You will create connections with NPCs, advance those relationships through the course of your narrative, and forge bonds to represent deeper connections. So, so the make a connection move is what you would normally do when you search out a new relationship or give focus to an existing relationship, not an ally or companion, and you would roll plus heart. But I think what it says, I think, here, let me find where it said this. I'm pretty sure that what it says in here somewhere is, oh yeah, for our first one, instead of rolling, just assume an automatic strong hit. This connection is already established as you begin your campaign, so no roll is necessary. So if we assume a strong hit, then we're going to create a connection, give them a roll and rank. Whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their roll, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. Okay, so let's give the connection a roll. And I believe we have an oracle for this. If you want to leave it in the hands of fate. So like it suggests that we could go through and choose what the role of this connection are. Kiwi First says the new connections are so much better than the Ironsworn bonds system. You know, I haven't, like, this is my first time playing around with it, of course, but I tend to agree that there, you know, as much as I love Ironsworn, some of the bond stuff always did feel just a little bit like I couldn't quite internalize how it was really supposed to be working. But in any case, so we do have a character role table, and by and large, we've been having some really good luck with our oracles, so let's try that. Let's roll for our first friend, or connection, anyway. 81. Okay, our first connection is a shipwright. Oh, okay, that seems like a relatively convenient one, as these things go. Shipwright. Okay, let's make that text just a little bigger. Okay, so our first connection is with a shipwright. All right. Okay, come on, no. Ah, oh no. Okay. There we go. So we've given the connection a role, and now we give the connection a rank. And so this, I was reading this ahead of time, and I felt like a little bit like, I'm not sure I fully understand this. Like, I understand mechanically, when we talk about a rank, like, we choose these troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, or epic, and it makes it clear that we're not talking about, like, if we choose dangerous, it doesn't mean this is a dangerous person. It's just a reflection of how difficult is it to develop your relationship with them and forge that connection with them. The higher the rank, the greater the narrative focus and time required to eventually forge a bond with them. But I feel like I'm not sure I know how to make that decision. Because you know what, I think maybe for our first one, maybe we pick Troublesome, just the easiest one, to just kind of play around more with the the mechanics of it, and then we can meet some later that maybe will be bigger. But I guess I think the basic issue is that like if you pick a more like a higher ranking one, it will be take more time to forge the bond with them, but you get more experience for doing it. I believe that's the gist of the system, but I don't feel like I have a full good understanding of like how do you choose, and like what does that mean when you're choosing. But yeah, and like I understand narratively, it's how hard it would become to become bonded, but I feel like how do we know that when we're just now meeting them? I'm just going to pick Troublesome for now because we'll, just we will, we're learning the system. That's not a good shape. I don't like that actually. Here. I'm going to make it a black one, but I'm going to make it a little circle. And I can actually have it full instead of... Here we go. There we go. Okay. Troublesome. We've given them a rank. Now we're going to define their characteristics. We're going to go to the first look and roll 2 to 3 times. We're going to go to character goal, and then a revealed character aspect. And so I believe one of the things that I actually do really like though about some of these is that it has separate tables for this is what you notice first about them, and then a different table for once you get to know them a little bit, you discover this. I think that's fantastic because, it allows you in a situation where, like, gosh, I'm exploring a vault and I find another person, and I'm going to say, I'm going to keep my distance at first. What can I tell about them from a distance? And then maybe if I decide that they're friendly enough to try to talk to, yeah. So, but because we're establishing that this is a connection we're starting off with, it makes sense that you would already know them a little bit. So yeah, so we're going to do 2 to 3 times on first look, goal, and then revealed character aspect 1 to 2 times. Okay, so let's try it out. Yeah, I think my let me close my PDF here because it did give me a weird error where it was not where it gave me a memory error and it wasn't displaying that one page for some reason. I can close the assets tab. There we go. No, this is the wrong one. Okay, hang on. Apologies, everyone. I will have this back up in just a jiffy. There we go. And 160, so Starship name, and it was, there we go. Characters. First look, we're going to roll at least 2, and you know what? Let's do 3. I don't see any reason not to do more, just because I think that's fun. So I'm going to do 3. You know what? How about this? The disposition. We could go ahead and have the third one be disposition. All right, so 67 and 29. So 67 on first look. They're scruffy. And 29 is distracted. Distracted doesn't seem like a great quality in a shipwright, and then their disposition would be 98. Hostile. Interesting. You know what? Actually, disposition doesn't make sense in this context because I think that's meant to apply more again, like if you randomly come across someone somewhere, like what's their attitude towards you. But yeah, so let's make that 98 on here. Youthful. Okay. I like that. Yeah, okay. So let's say we've got this, this shipwright is scruffy, distracted, and youthful. Nice. And yes, as suggested in the chat, who's scruffy looking? Well, the shipwright is. Now, we need a character goal for this scruffy, distracted, youthful shipwright. And that is going to be 40. Maintain order. How do we square that with youthful and distracted? Well, you know what? Maybe this is one of those, you know, it is a religious settlement, right? We established that one of their projects is spirituality. So maybe this kid is, you know, a true believer, and maybe that's what the distracted actually comes from, right? Is that he believes that the religion of this place is what will provide order, and it's thinking about that sometimes keeps his mind off of his shipwright work. I don't know why I'm assuming it's a he at this point. Maybe we should, you know, we'll determine that in a little bit. But let's say goal to maintain order through religious practice. All right. And then revealed character aspect suggests up to 3. So let's, yeah, why not? Let's just do lots. Make some complex characters. So 88, 48, 22. 88 is talented. Okay, good. Impulsive. Sure. And then 22, corrupted. Interesting. How does that square with the rest of what we just established? Talented, impulsive, corrupted. Oh, maybe the corrupted element ties in with he actually yeah, maybe it's sort of an element of like he is a oh, there's a suggestion in the chat. Kiwi first suggests a talented ship mechanic that wants to use illegal repairs to ships. That's a good idea. What I was just thinking was that maybe he gives beneficial, he wants to keep donating to the religious order, and so he like gives them preferential treatment and occasionally I don't know. See, because here's the question. In terms of what I was just thinking there is whether or not we want the religious figures in this settlement to also be corrupt. And we did establish that this settlement is a tolerant settlement. The authority is tolerant, which means, you know, this is not the black market, all is permissible in like Ramshackle. And in fact, maybe if his goal is to maintain order, maybe he actually thinks that it should be like less tolerant. Is this kid a little crypto-fascist? I hope not. That I'm going to veto that right now because I don't like that. So no, that's not what it is. He okay. Yeah, see, I was just suddenly flashing on Anakin episode 2 of like, someone strong should force them to do what's right. No, so corrupted is tricky. Yeah, like maybe it is just it's an element of like he's been. See, was my first thought was that there are religious officials that take advantage of his youthful naivete and faith to basically give them modifications, like ship like he directs, he smuggles for them. And another suggestion is he has tech installed in his body that religion sees him as corrupted. I feel like, would that make him, like, would he still be a true believer in that context? Maybe he could be. I feel like, you know what, I think corrupted in this context, I'm gonna say is smuggles smuggles and launders funds for religious leaders. Um, yeah, I like that. I think that seems that squares all the different traits together, I think. Okay. Excuse me. So then, whoops, I keep scrolling way back too far. Why is I'm scrolling pages too quickly and it's giving my PDF thing errors. What is happening? Yeah, hold on. All right, hang on. I'm just going to close that and then open it again. What? I keep clicking the wrong one. There we go. Oh, that is a good point. The idea of corrupted could be physical um, rather than like moral. So maybe he's a mutant, or maybe he's got some of this sickness that the place is troubled with. I kind of like the idea though of him, like it's like he's a true believer in this religion that's on this triumvirate religion that's part of this project, and as a result, the officials of that church take advantage of him. I kind of like that. Okay, so we're getting close to finishing like all of this initial stuff, and I think that's probably where we'll stop for today. So we'll actually not get quite all the way into full play, but we're having some really good meaty stuff for the world building, and then we'll definitely play again another time to get started with our character here with Wayfinder. But let's see. So we established what they're like. Now we're choosing the connections home. I think we kind of established like that he lives in Hearth. And now we let's get a name oracle. And so I think we'll roll twice. You know what? He probably needs a call sign also. So let's get 3. 51, 54 for his first name. Um, so 51 K and 54 Vega. All right. And call sign 84. Well, hang on. K Vega. And then his call sign 84 Stinger. Okay, sure. He lives on Earth. And I guess he is a he because I'm already thinking of him that way. All right. K Vega. All right. And then, okay, we've got the connection and name. So depending on the connection's role in the whims of narrative events, we'll see if we end up encountering this kid frequently. All right, so now we're going to introduce a sector trouble. So this would be an issue that is affecting not merely just an individual settlement, but everyone in the sector. Okay, so let's roll. 50 parasitic life forms spread like a plague. Okay, interesting. All right, let's see. Yeah. We'll have to let's see. Parasitic life spread like a plague. Now we could tie that back into the sickness. Like we had assumed that the sickness was in Hearth was related to the industrial activity, but maybe it could actually be these parasitic life forms instead. What do y'all think? We could do that, or I could roll again on sector trouble if anyone feels like that one doesn't feel quite right. So maybe plagued by sickness, life forms. All right. And then, so maybe that they're mostly on Hearth right now, but it is spreading. Like they're already starting to be spotted on Ramshackle, for example. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sector trouble. Yep. All right. Yeah, and then yeah, and you know what? Maybe that does tie into the corruption. You know what? Okay, I changed my mind. You know what? Maybe it's still true that he does, he does get taken advantage of by the religious leaders, but also infected with a parasite, an alien parasite. So, but that means we can't put off trying to figure out what is this thing like, right? What is this parasite like? So we also need to name the starting sector, which, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Our sector name is going to be, we need a prefix and a suffix, so we're rolling twice. 2542. So 25 Delphi, and then 42 Heart. Delphi Heart. Sure. I don't know. I mean, it's like I don't know that it's super evocative, but it's fine. You know what? Let's. What if we reverse them? Let's see what 42 and 25 would be. So if forgotten deep. That's certainly more evocative. All right, Forgotten Deep it is, I think. Compared to Delphi Heart. Yeah. Forgotten Deep. All right, and then But now there's some alien creature things that have characteristics. There's some. So here's the thing. We need to figure out what these parasites are like, right? Now, if they're parasites that would get on people, that's going to put some limitations, right? You probably don't have some whale-sized parasites on people. So I would say they would have to be either minuscule or tiny, bug-sized or rodent-sized. So let's roll a d10. 4 says these are tiny rodent-sized. And the basic creature form, let's see. I think that these interior would be like if they're inside, like I guess they would be not like an outside creature, but like something that you would find like inside settlements and stuff, which I don't know if these things are. I think interior makes sense because they're infesting people. So we'll roll a D100 for that to get what these things kind of look like. 14. Oh, okay, so they're like mammalian parasites. Interesting. Okay. All right. Mammalian rodent sized. And then first look, let's roll 2 of these. 59 and 74. So 59, injured or scarred. 74, multi-jointed. Multi-jointed works, but I think let's re-roll that 59 because injured or scarred, like that. I don't know if that makes sense in this context when we're talking about a whole category of creature. 95, tentacles or tendrils. Nice, that's good. Multi-jointed. Here, let's think about just biologically for a second. Does it make sense to be multi-jointed and have tentacles or tendrils? I mean, sure it does, right? Like you can have multi-jointed legs and then also some tentacles or tendrils for sure. Multi-jointed tendrils. And that tendrils make sense for like a parasite, right? Like they wrap around you or something. Yeah. Oh, these things are already super creepy. Radial mammal with weird joints and legs and tendrils. Yeah, apparently. And let's see, encountered behavior we probably don't need because we already know they're parasites. But then let's get a revealed creature aspect. We already know they're parasitic, but let's see if we can. Let's get one more. 80. Proboscis or inner jaw. Yeah. Proboscis, I think. Okay, yeah. See, what I'm imagining now are like, if you imagine crossing, like a mole with like a lobster. Yeah. Or a mole or like, yeah. And I'm imagining that these things are very difficult to eradicate because they seem like tiny rodents. They're capable of sort of squeezing their bodies through very small openings. And so what basically happens is that like they get on you while you're asleep. You just sort of wake up and like, oh God, there's a thing on me and I can't get it off. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are super creepy. Okay, good. So, and our shipwright here, Kay, has one of these guys on him. which, we can, we would maybe develop that to try to see, like, it makes you a little sick and people think it's creepy, but like, does it actually, what else does it do? I think we might, develop that if we, see how it goes, but maybe for right now that's enough. So now we've got our starting sector, and we're going to begin the adventure, but I think so. You know what? I think if we're not going to, I think maybe that's actually the perfect spot to finish right now, and then we'll play again soon, and that one we'll start that one out with our inciting incident, because I'm definitely excited to play this some more. We've already got a lot of fun world building stuff, so can't wait to try it some more. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're not familiar with this channel, I often run Dungeons and Dragons. We currently have a Rime of the Frost Maiden adventure module game running on Saturdays and a homebrew campaign running on Tuesdays, but I also do other things like this sometimes. So check it out, and I will definitely be playing this game more. So in the meantime, hope you all have fun, and don't let the don't let the parasite mammals get you. Is there a name? We got to name these creatures. Like, I don't think there was an oracle for that. But I think maybe, yeah, that's one last thing that we've got to do before we close it up, right? Got to. Is there, like, yeah, there's not an oracle for that, but we've got to name these weird little rat squid parasite monsters. Because I feel like I want to give them kind of like just a common name, like they might have some fancy scientific name, but if these things are spreading, they've got to have some sort of a nickname that the common people would sort of give them to just kind of know. Oh, like part of what's coming to my mind, the tenebrous ferrets. Part of what my brain went to was the thinking about this idea of them squeezing through tiny, tiny openings, and I thought about calling them just like squishers, just really kind of common sort of name. But I don't know. Let me think about it some more. Ferrets, death mites. Yeah, death mites. I like mites. Death mites makes it sound like they're more dangerous. I'm not sure. Octopods. Gosh, so many good choices. I kind of like weevils. I kind of like the idea that there's an aspect of them that is kind of like, I'm sort of envisioning the star-nosed mole, except with bizarre multi-jointed legs and tendrils. So like a something mole. Because also, like, a mole is also you have like a mole on your skin, right? Wugglers. I like wugglers. I mean, it's like I mean, because you typed wigglers right after it, so maybe wugglers was actually a typo, but I kind of like it. You know what? That's it. That's what they are. They're called wugglers. Wugglers. Okay. Wugglers. Oh my gosh. All right, what a great note to end our session on. But we will definitely be back to have Wayfinder, our pilgrim explorer, who's going to have some sort of a connection with Kay Vega from Hearth, the scruffy, distracted, and youthful, but also talented, impulsive, and corrupted shipwright who's got a wuggler. All right. We'll leave it there for now. Remember that Ironsworn Starforged is currently in Kickstarter, so you can probably Google that and you'll find it. But I'm super excited for it just based on already what we've got here. So thanks everybody, and talk to you again soon.